Welcome to Almost Here, Round the Corner Future Technology podcasts with Richard Jacobs. Future technologies poised to transform our lives for better or worse are the focus of this podcast. Almost here means these technologies are now here and starting to be used, or just around the corner, from Bitcoin to artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Future Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Juliette Lamar, and joining us today is Marshall Chesrown. He is the founder and CEO at RumbleOn. Welcome, Marshall.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Of course. RumbleOn is pretty cool, but I'm going to let you go ahead and explain it in your own words. What is RumbleOn and what are you guys doing?
Well, RumbleOn is a 100% online marketplace for consumers and dealers to, number one, create liquidity by giving a cash offer, as well as a place to sell long-term through a classified website that is coming online later in 2018. But it was really designed to change the way consumers are able to buy and sell. This was an industry that is fairly archaic in its processes. Consumers don't have a lot of liquidity options. In other words, if they just want to sell their motorcycle, their only choice is really to just go to one of the listing sites, be it eBay or Craigslist or Cycle Trader or so on. And we were quite surprised. Actually, I was a founder of a previous company called Vroom, which is an automotive company. It's privately owned, but it was an online model as well. And we were very surprised in the power sports industry, which is, motorcycles both on-road and off-road, that there really wasn't a big online presence, and there was really no way of creating liquidity, similar to, say, in the car business to CarMax, where you can drive down the street and you can get a cash offer for your vehicle. If you aren't interested in trading, there really isn't a great option for you to again create liquidity. So that was the foundation of building RumbleOn. I might also add that we found it interesting that better than 2/3 of all the transactions in the used motorcycle space are handled in a peer-to-peer fashion. And peer-to-peer sales of expensive goods really isn't very efficient for the simple fact that, if I'm selling my neighbor my motorcycle, I probably don't want to finance him, and more than likely I don't want to take his trade-in. So unlike the automobile business where dealers are, control the business basically, this is an industry that has been dominated by peer-to-peer transactions, and we just saw it as a great online opportunity.
And just for clarification for our listeners, you're buying and selling specifically motorcycles or all powered goods? Is it also, jet skis and things of that nature? Or what kind of products are you specifically buying and selling?
Well, first, let's talk about the software that we designed and built. It's VIN-driven software. So basically anything that has a VIN number, whether that be a cycle or an ATV or a boat and RV, a car, truck, whatever, they all work in our system from a decoding perspective. Today, we're focused on primarily power sports, and power sports are made up of on-road motorcycles, off-road motorcycles, as well as ATVs, be it side-by-sides or four-wheelers or whatever. So that's really our focus today. But again, our technology is designed around the explosion of a VIN to describe basically to pull in all the data sources around a VIN number. So we know when the consumer puts their VIN number in, we know how many are for sale on the internet, which ones have sold, what they sold for, when they sold, both wholesale and retail, and so forth. So it all revolves around VIN number technology, and we designed a similar type tool in the automotive space, but have since moved into the motorcycle space with RumbleOn.
Fantastic. So let's walk our listeners through, if they need to sell a vehicle for cash. On your website, you say that you can get a cash offer in 30 minutes or less. That is mind-blowing.
Yeah, actually, we say 30 minutes because we obviously want to under-promise and over-deliver. It really is, it's automated, so it's very, very quick. It's usually in just a few minutes. But it's as simple as you download the app, which the majority of the people do. It is an easier way to do it through your mobile phone because one of the options you have is to include photographs. And obviously, if you're on your phone, it's real easy in our software to to click on your camera phone. So, but basically you put in your VIN number, you put in your exact mileage. There's 3 slides of condition from 1 to 5 on mechanical, aesthetic, and your tires. And so you slide those from ridden hard all the way to flawless. You have an opportunity to put in notes. You can put in up to 18 photographs. You can put in that we have 6 that we prefer, and we give you the angles and stuff to shoot those. But you can also, if you know, a lot of people add a lot of equipment to these toys, and so they can put in photos of that. If it's got any damage, they can put in photos, and then a place for their notes. And because these motorcycles are typically their hobby or their passion, it's not quite like an automobile. They're very willing to tell you everything that they've added to it, and exactly what kind of condition it's in and so forth. From that point, you click submit, and when you submit, it goes into our system, automatically populates all the data. The data is evaluation is determined, and then a human being does lay eyes on your photographs and does read your description, your written description, and authorizes either pluses or minuses that cash offer from what the automated system set it at. And from that point, you get a voucher, and that cash offer is there's not a bunch of disclaimers and all those kinds of things. It's a true cash offer. Once you receive it and you want to accept that, you click accept, and it starts the entire process of automated paperwork, purchase order, and odometer statement. And then I think the nicest part about it for consumers is we don't require you to take it somewhere and have it inspected. Nobody's coming to your house other than to pick it up after you've been paid. This is a situation where you're actually paid in full via wire transfer before we schedule it for pickup. So your asset is still sitting in your garage up until the time you've been paid.
Oh, that's such a game changer. I remember my dad is a motorcycle rider, and he was trying to sell one of his bikes, and pretty much the only option was to take it to our local, motorcycle dealer, and they had it there for consignment or whatever. They'll have it on the lot, and if someone's interested, they'll connect us to us. And it was just such a headache to try and to do everything. And really, they were just offering like a safe place for us to put it, but still we had to deal with everything else. And I remember that being a major headache.
Yeah, we thought it was interesting that there wasn't, like I said, there was no liquidity prior to RumbleOn. So, and a lot of people, are not moving from a motorcycle onto another motorcycle. Those people are still going through traditional channels, be it bricks and mortar dealers. But for someone that, we have people submitting VIN numbers on motorcycles and been sitting in their garage for 10 years and they haven't been licensed for the last 8. And there's millions and millions of these out there. Harley Davidson, as an example, estimates that there's over 7 million Harley Davidsons sitting in people's garages today, and less than half of them have current license plates. So we think there's a huge pent-up demand for it. The other options are to sell it yourself, and to do that, Craigslist kind of dominates the power sports business. I think as of a week ago, they had about 23,000 listings nationally. And the issues with listing sites, unlike the one that RumbleOn is developing, is there really isn't any incentive for a listing site to assist you in selling your vehicle, because quite honestly, if you do sell it, their income stream stops. So if you look on some of the websites out there for RVs and power sports and different things, you'll see listings that have been out there for years, not months. And so we saw that as an opportunity as well. And one of the things around our brand that we really want to develop is that at the end of the day, we want our brand to stand for, we'll give you cash for your asset, or we'll help you sell it. And when we say we'll help you sell it, legitimately help you sell it, we're developing an online consumer-only classified site called RumbleOnClassifieds.com. And it's for the people that, get the offer and don't feel it's enough, which is, a large percentage of the people, not a huge amount, but a large percentage of people, either the amount isn't enough to, say, pay it off. Maybe they have negative equity and they don't have the wherewithal to pay it off, or they just simply think it might be worth more or whatever. We want to be known as we'll either give you cash or we'll help you sell it. And when I say help you sell it, on our website, we'll provide financing, we'll provide trades, we provide data and clarity and transparency that nobody's ever shown in any industry that we're aware of from a listing site perspective. So it's not like doing it on consignment where you take it down there and they say, yeah, we'll try to get you whatever you want for it, and then if somebody comes in, they usually give you a lowball offer or whatever. It's not that at all. It's purely a listing. But we try to marry qualified buyers with qualified sellers, and then provide whatever services they need in between that. And again, whether that's financing or trade-in or really just information. I mean, we know from our data that we already have in the system when you submitted for a cash offer, we know exactly what the marketplace is like. So let's say, for instance, we gave you $3,000 cash offer, and you, for whatever reason, felt it was worth $6,000. It was worth twice that much. That's probably an outlier, but just use that as an example. When you put that $6,000 price into our listing tool, it's going to tell you whether it's likely or unlikely that it would sell at that price and why. In other words, if we know, which we do, we know that there's 17 out there in the marketplace for sale like yours, and here they are. Here's all 17 of them. And here's what they're listed for, here's where they're for sale at, so on and so forth. And then you can make your own decisions to try to put yourself in a position to be able to liquidate the asset. And again, if we can buy it, that's fine. That's what we do. We buy and sell power sports. But if we can also assist you in selling it, that's okay too, because what we're building here is a brand of trust and a brand of transparency and clarity in a market that is still done. I was in the automobile business for almost 40 years, so I have a good understanding of it. And this industry reminds me a lot of the automobile business of 20 years ago. They really haven't had the margin compression that the internet brings. They don't really have an online presence. Like you said, the majority of the transactions are happening peer to peer, and they're happening through fairly archaic listing sites. So we just saw it as a huge opportunity, and thus far we basically started, we did our uplist IPO on the NASDAQ in November of 2017. So we've been about 9 months, and we've had over 50,000 people submit for cash offers. We bought and sold thousands of motorcycles thus far. I think as of today, I think we're a little over 900. We've been over 1,000 on our website for sale. So we've quickly moved into the largest remarketer of pre-owned motorcycles in the country, and our business beliefs are that at the end of the day, the consumer is the judge and jury of whether you have a great business model, and it's clear to us that the consumer likes what we're doing. So we just see nothing but great things ahead.
Absolutely, I'm just in awe of what you've built here, because it is so needed, and it's insane that it has not really, something like this has not come to the surface yet. So I'm very glad you're doing this. And for people who are trying to buy a motorcycle or a power sports toy, like you're saying, that's also like you have to go to Craigslist or you have to go in person somewhere, and this is also offering unique opportunities for people who are looking to buy these things. Yeah,
exactly, because again, we're marrying sellers to buyers. In our case, what's listed on our website, obviously we own all those vehicles, but we've provided a service to the seller already, and now we provide a really great service to the buyer, because again, business fairly archaic, mostly mom and pop type operations, no big public company ownership or as I said, margin compression via the internet or any of those things have happened. The things that we do is kind of basic blocking and tackling of online retail today. And I think certainly Amazon kind of has set the standard, but it revolves around, we provide a third-party condition report, which is hugely important. We will not sell, we don't touch anything we buy or sell. It never touches, no one that's employed by us ever sees these. We use all third parties. We have regional rifling locations that we send them to, but we pay for a third-party complete condition report. So when you go on our website and you pick out a motorcycle that you want to buy, before we will sell that to you, we have to have the condition report complete. We send a very detailed condition report with close-up photographs. When you originally see it on our website, it might have the photos that the customer that the seller provided us. But before we process anything for sale, we make sure that it's been inspected. Secondly, obviously, we have free shipping. We have a full money back guarantee. We have fender-to-fender warranty, and obviously no dealer fees and no unknowns, if you will. And we just see that as, we've been in online retail for quite some time, and we just think those are the, kind of the costs of entry of making sure, again, using Amazon as the example, the magic from my perspective of Amazon is they removed all of the risk to the consumer. I might be buying a gallon of shampoo and it might be coming from a beauty shop in Florida, but I don't really care because I'm buying it from Amazon and I know they're standing behind it. And what we were trying to do is create a liquidity opportunity in this space similar to CarMax, but you don't have to drive across town, spend an hour and a half there getting a cash offer for your vehicle, of which you might or might not take. We like to say you can do everything with RumbleOn from your living room as opposed to a showroom, because we don't have any showrooms. We don't have any bricks and mortar. We're very we don't have reconditioning centers. We don't have rifling centers. We don't have showrooms. We don't have vending machines. We don't have anything. We do everything out of a single office space in Coppell, Texas, and we leverage third parties. As I said, we use the likes of Mannheim, Odessa, Copart, NPA, and so forth around the country, and they do our reconditioning and inspections and condition reports and high-end photography, et cetera, to put the customer at ease what they're buying. Keep in mind, we're selling a pre-owned product, so it's super important that it's reconditioned properly, that it's described properly, and that it's guaranteed. And if you did that under the traditional method, which almost 70% of all the transactions are peer-to-peer, obviously you don't get the advantage of any of those. Thus, if you bought it on Craigslist, it is what it is, and you get what you bought. Where with us, you're protected again with the money back guarantee and so forth.
Well, that is absolutely fantastic. And you mentioned briefly, you don't have a showroom, you don't keep these products. So when someone sells their motorcycle, do you come and pick it up from them and then deliver it to the buyee, the purchaser?
No, there's a middle that was the third parties that I referred to.
Got it.
What we've done is we've identified 11 regional locations so that we've got one, fairly in all the major areas. We've got them all the way from Seattle to San Diego to Dallas, Denver, Atlanta, so on and so forth. And we rifle everything into a single location. It immediately goes through all of our process, which is the inspection and the reconditioning and new photography. We're very, very close to introducing walk-around video so that each one of them will also have a close-up video presentation of each bike, only for like a minute or a minute and a half, but just to give it a little bit more personality. And so it's all about, it's truly an online model. I mean, if you look at, there's several out there in the vehicle space that say they're online providers. I won't name any names, but in all reality, they market online, which I think pretty much everybody that's successful in business today markets online. But we completely transact the entire supply chain from acquisition through distribution, all online.
And I feel like this kind of confidence in buying and selling and your transparency, it's going to create customers who are with you for the life cycle of their vehicles. They're going to purchase from you, they're going to use it, they're going to trade it in with you, and then potentially purchase more. And so you're going to create such a wonderful community of motorcycle riders, which is already a really close-knit and supportive community in and of itself.
Yeah, it's interesting, because again, my background in automotive, once you've bought your 2012 Nissan Altima, you're out of the marketplace, and you're not passionate necessarily about Nissan or about an Altima. You needed transportation, right? And so it served the need. But with these are people's passion and their hobby, and what we've found is that they appreciate meaningful content. Our ability to be able to interact with people in social media and even email and some basic blocking and tackling has been really surprising. It's a very, very sticky group, as they refer to it, in that, like I said, if you have meaningful contact, not advertising, but It could be stories about an antique motorcycle that was found in a barn somewhere or whatever. People, are passionate about it. I mean, they search the internet at night for parts and pieces and apparel and all those kinds of things. And so it's significantly different than automotive. And so to your point, we have a event marketing team as an example. We have these big semi trailers that go out to all the motorcycle events. And again, a really interesting opportunity because you take like Sturgis as an example. We're sponsoring with the city of Sturgis the event this year, and we have basically a city block right across the street from Harley-Davidson where we have all kinds of consumer interaction opportunities, and we provide free photos of the event of everybody with their motorcycle and so forth. But what's interesting about it is there's 500,000 people are going to go through Sturgis this year, and every one of them is sitting on the back of what and are passionate about what we buy and sell. And that's an interesting opportunity because it's hard to find such a tight demographic. And, if you look at our marketing, our number one marketing source has been Facebook. And, a lot of retailers out there today understand the value of Facebook, but have had a tough time monetizing their customer acquisition costs at some kind of reasonable level. But we've had just tremendous success in both that and with regards to search in the space, primarily because of the lack of presence on the internet. I mean, if you put in sell Harley into your browser, you're going to find out that we already populate at the top of those key search words. So, that would be, and this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So to be able to have that level of organic search in such a short window of time has been a great surprise.
It's fantastic. So in conclusion, people want to buy, sell, trade. They just want to learn more about your little ecosystem here. What's the best way for people to connect with RumbleOn? You have social media? Is the website best? Let us know the best way.
Yeah, obviously, the website is always the easiest, but certainly, we have well over 100,000 followers on Facebook already. So we have a huge Facebook presence. We're there with Instagram, with all the normal sources, and we have a large customer service team. We don't have salespeople, so nobody's going to try to sell you anything or try to get you to do anything you don't want to do. But we have a team readily available. I'm a little old-fashioned in that way. I think people want to be able to dial a phone number if they have a question, and so we do provide those services. Right now, we're providing services from 9 to 9 daily, 7 days a week, but we'll quickly move into 24/7. And so that's the best way to get in touch with us. I think importantly is in closing is that we are adding our classifieds, and that's going to be a huge opportunity, I think, for customers that really they're not in a hurry. They'd rather take their time to sell it themselves and try to maximize the value. And we don't do anything to discourage that. I think that the fact that we start off with a true cash offer, there's a lot of opportunities out there today to get an opinion of value. But you can buy a NADA book, or you could buy a Kelly Blue book or whatever. And you can tip that book upside down and shake it, forever, and a check won't fall out. The big difference with us is that we are a true cash buyer, and obviously, I mean, people can see when we turn around and sell that, we offer free shipping. We do recondition them. We ship them. We warranty them from fender to fender. So people can understand that we make a reasonable margin, and our margins, because we're a publicly traded company, by the way, under the symbol RMBL on the NASDAQ. And so, people can find out what we make on motorcycles. I mean, there's nothing scientific about it. We're in the 14% range. And, we obviously take a lot of risk and there's a lot of costs associated to us selling those. So if it's a better solution for the customer to sell it to us for cash, we love it. If it's a better solution for us to provide the services and the information in a transparent form, with a cost-effective way for them to sell it themselves, as opposed to the other listing providers that are out there, that's great. And we don't muddy. Our classified site does not have any dealer. It will not have any. It's just getting ready to launch, but it won't have any dealers listed on it. So it's truly a peer-to-peer consumer listing site. And we protect them with hidden email address and, all those types of things so that we can build in a level of trust there so that they aren't getting, random calls and text messages and everything like happens with most or with several listing sites.
No, that is fantastic. Well, Marshall, thank you so much for coming on Future Tech Podcast and really sharing this fantastic company that you've been building and to really offer something that is much needed in this marketplace today. So thank you for coming on and sharing that with us. Good.
Thank you so much for your time, and we'll look forward to talking to you again.
All right. That was Marshall Chesrown. He is the founder and CEO at RumbleOn. Again, that's RumbleOn.com. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This has been Juliette Lamar with Future Tech Podcast.
You have been listening to Almost Here, Around the Corner Future Technology Podcast with Richard Jacobs. Subscribe to this podcast, post a review to discover more future technologies that are poised to transform our lives for better or worse, such as Bitcoin, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.